This workshop is about effective communication in a workplace. Why effective communication in a workplace? Well, my answer to that question will be straightforward. The workplace is a very diverse place. There are studies showing that there are 4 different generations represented in the workplace. Those called the matures, the baby boomers, the millennial, and the Gen Z. And some people will tell you that there are even more generations interacting in the workplace. Regardless of how many of them, the fact is that today we have many more generations interacting in the workplace, more so than ever. As a result, come differences, right? Diversity comes with differences. So it's important for us to learn to communicate effectively in order to manage our differences. And we talk about generations. Each generation comes with their values, their cultures. And culture represents a big umbrella. It's a big umbrella. Underneath, we can put so many things. Differences in background. People come with their different background, whether it's educational background, family background, religion, ethnicity, gender, and you can add to the list. In addition to all that, when you think of the workplace as a place where we spend so many hours of our day, you even feel more the sense of urgency of learning to communicate effectively. Imagine a situation where, you come to work and the people you're interacting with, they're all grumpy. They're yelling at you. You spend hours, frustrated. And every day is the same scenario. You will end up sick. That ambience will affect your psyche, your mentis, and your soma, right? Your mind and your body. So those are some reasons why it's important for us to communicate effectively in the workplace. Now, another question will be, how do we communicate effectively in the workplace? Third question. And my answer to that question will be straightforward as well. In order for us to communicate effectively in the workplace, it's important for us to communicate with our hearts and with our minds. It's important to have the heart and the mind interacting for effective communication. How do we do so? How do we bring our hearts and our minds in communicating with others? My answer again will be straightforward and simple. We bring the hearts and the mind into communication by showing compassion to others. What's compassion then? Well, I like to resort to the Latin roots of the word compassion to define it, because the roots show a great deal of what compassion means. Compassion comes from the Latin word cum passio. The cum means together with. The passio translates feelings of joy as well as feelings of sorrow. What does that mean? It means if we want to show compassion in how we communicate with others, we have to suffer with them when they're suffering. And we have to rejoice with them, be happy with them in time of happiness. That's not clear enough. Let me say more. To show compassion in communication, it's important for us to put ourselves in their shoes, to treat them as we wish to be treated, to respect them. Imagine this scenario, and actually it happened. It happens in a great state of New Jersey in a workplace. There was a situation where a co-worker, in her interaction with her colleague, she happened to wonder, asking the colleague, "I wonder what planet you're coming from." Wow. Those are simple words, but you know what? Words are powerful and they're meaningful. Depending on how you use them, they can frustrate. They can make people depressed, which is exactly what happened to that colleague who was on the end of the receiver. She was like, I thought I was from planet Earth, like everybody, like you. And she spent days thinking about it. She could not sleep. She shared with her husband. That wasn't enough. She had to carry the frustration for many days, thinking the planet she was from. And simply because, a colleague happened to use those words in the workplace toward her. And there's another situation that I want to share with you. It happens right here in the great state of Maryland, in a workplace, where there was a situation where somebody in a position of manager, you can call it director, or a leader, in the process of giving an order to a colleague, told the colleague that she is an employee, she has no say, she just has to obey. Come on. Doing so is like giving the impression that you, the manager, you, the director yourself, you're not an employee. No, you are. And he actually was an employee as well. You know what? If we want to show compassion, if we want to reflect our heart and mind in how we communicate with them, we don't speak like that to them. We don't tell them they have no say. No, they do have say. We don't wonder which planet they're from. But we respect them. We treat them like we wish to be treated. We think twice before we select our words. And this is still vague, you will tell me. Well, I will say more on it, and actually, I'm going to be specific with some technique that I will be sharing with you. Specific techniques, for effective communication. But before I get there, I want to highlight one thing which I already mentioned. Respect, respect, and respect. That's big. And all these techniques that I'm going to be presenting translates to some extent that concept of respect. And that concept implies something even bigger. The philosophy of Ubuntu, I am because you are. When we think that we are who we are because of others, we are able to do what we're doing in this organization because of the presence of others, then we respect them. We treat them like we wish to be treated. We recognize them. So specifically, when we want to communicate with the heart and the mind, it's important for us to listen to them. Reflective listening is the first technique. And reflective listening translates respect to them. It translates recognition. We recognize them. And when we recognize them, we recognize their identity, they feel empowered. And they're happy to work with us, to follow any order we're given. The next technique will be for us to express ourselves. Express how you feel, even if you feel hurt. Let's allow them to express themselves, even if they are hurt, even if they disagree with us. There comes another technique. Allowing room for disagreement with them and with you. They can disagree with me. It's allowed. It's allowed for good communication. It's important that we also share information. Information sharing counters scapegoating, counters rumors. And when we're communicating with people, it's important for us to keep a good, respectful eye contact. And you know how we do that? Just by keeping a smile. Smiling. Smiling heals you and them. It heals you. Developing a sense of mind is key to effective communication in the workplace. It's also important that we develop, trust. Finding ways to make sure that they trust us. Because if they do not trust us, they won't be able to communicate with us effectively. They will be hiding stuff from us. Developing a sense of trust is key to effective communication. And it's also important that, we create a system of incentives and rewards to trigger communication. And when people feel like, if they communicate the way they should, they will be rewarded. That's motivate them. In other words, when we communicate effectively, we keep all doors open for effective communication. And that generates what's called open door policy. We feel pushed to come share with them what we experience, whether they are like our colleagues, whether they are like our manager, our directors, and co. And when there is a good open door policy, it creates a good ambience in the workplace. But it's not enough. It's important that we have a system of peer review as well in place. So that in time of, conflicts with the manager, with the boss, disagreement with the manager, people feel like, okay, they have colleagues that will support them, that will help them in whatever problem they're going through. A peer review panel will do just that. And of course, it's important in addition to all that, the open door policy and the peer review panel, in addition to all that, it's important for us to learn to negotiate. Organizing workshops like this one, which allow people to learn negotiation skill, to acquire them, it's all helpful. Now, if negotiation doesn't work, we can also try to see how we teach people that they can resort to specific third parties for mediation, for intervention, to help deal with any conflicts that comes in the workplace. Ultimately, effective negotiation through the heart and the mind. Effective negotiation with the heart and the mind help us build organizations that are people-centered. Organizations where people come first before anything else. And when we are able to build organizations that are people-centered, they are successful. Thank you.